through everything here this evening. Okay? Awesome, guys. So, Coach Communications 101. First thing that, guys, we really have to consider when it comes to emailing any coach, okay, is really the idea of doing some homework, kind of doing some due diligence, things like that. So the first thing you really have to think about is creating a target list, right? Okay, who am I going to email? What schools should I be focusing on? And the way you guys should look at this target list is basically in 3 different spots, okay? You're going to have your sweet spot schools, you're going to have your reach schools, your safety schools, okay? We'll talk about what all that means here in a quick moment. And the idea of, kind of finding the right school for you. We actually have a class on that as well, utilizing some of the different tabs, some of the different features on CSA membership. We'll talk about that here tonight. And really, guys, a question that I get quite a bit from my families is, okay, how many schools should I be emailing? And saying that there's a perfect number out there, but the way that I generally say it, guys, for my golfers, the families I work with, is breaking it down, trying to say, okay, today I'm going to email, this week I'm going to email 2 or 3 programs, or if you can do more, setting a goal of saying, all right, on a weekly basis, I'm going to email X amount of schools, or on a monthly basis, I'm going to email X amount of schools, breaking it down into little parts, at least from what I've seen, is a little bit of a better policy than just saying, okay, I'm going to email 100 schools. Now, the one thing, guys, that I always want you to consider is the response rate from these coaches. Now, one thing that I can probably guarantee for probably anybody in this class who's started emailing coaches, you guys have probably seen it where a coach might open your email and they don't respond to you. It's very common. And the typical response rate, guys, for a coach is around 15%. So let's just say that you're sending 10 emails out. Well, on average, you're going to probably expect 1 to 2 coaches responding to you. Now, a lot of times, guys, it's kind of what we do from there, kind of our follow-up techniques. I'm ahead of myself, but we'll talk about that as well. Profile. So a lot of you in here, you might be newer members. I'm sure some of you have had your welcome calls. Some of you maybe have had your first coaching sessions, whatever it might have been. But trying to look at this, guys, as your profile is your resume, okay? It's your sport resume. And think about if you're applying for a job, okay? I'm sure some of you probably, are working, do have jobs. When you're going to an employer, you're going to a company, your resume, you're going to make that thing as polished and as good as you could possibly make it, right? Same way with recruiting, and it's the same way with this profile. So trying to make sure that you have all the important information that a coach is going to need from you to better evaluate you. 90% of our profiles, guys, in terms of viewed by coaches, do have a video and a transcript. So if any of you are missing that video, that transcript, for some of my sports in here as my golfers, it's more of a maybe you're more of a stat, basically, times or tournaments or numbers. If that's the case, make sure that you have, as many numbers as you can into your profile. Understanding the timeline, guys, for your sport, kind of the division level that you're contacting, that's a huge piece to this puzzle, and we'll talk about that briefly as well. Sometimes, guys, with your sports that you're involved in, you have a 101 class, kind of about, specifically, understanding those timelines a bit better. I always encourage you to look at, kind of our calendar, see if there is something offered for that, and creating a template that you can personalize to each school. And again, hopefully what we're going to be able to help you out with here is going to be, helpful as well. Can you guys still hear me okay? I know I think one of our participants in here, I don't hear me. Okay, thank you, Edwin. Second here, I'm just trying to make sure that should be able to hear me. Got it. Okay. And McKenna, I apologize about that. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, again, this class is being recorded, so you'll hear this at a later date. I'm sorry if you can't hear me right now. Okay. So that's kind of our first, little bit here, guys. And then the next kind of main point here is kind of when should you email coaches, okay? So this is kind of a major topic as well. So the one thing I want you guys to consider, no matter what sport you're involved in or what grade year you're in, no matter what it is, there are never any restrictions on what you guys can send to a coach, okay? Keep that in mind, whether or not you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, 8th grader, doesn't matter. There are never any restrictions on what you can send to a coach, okay? Anytime, coach can view your profile, okay? They can evaluate your video, and they can follow you on NCSA. So if nothing else, even if you guys might be a freshman or you're a sophomore, you're like, what's really the point of emailing a D1, D2 coach if they can't really, proactively respond to me? It's the idea of getting on their radar, okay? And it's the idea of, trying to get them familiar with you. And keep in mind, like I said, they can look at your information, and that's part of the reason why it's so important to have all that information correct and as much as we can on that profile. Now, in terms of division levels, guys, Division I schools, okay? So for my juniors in here, for my 2019s, September 1st of this month, okay, which has passed, that was when D1 coaches can begin personally responding to your emails. So for my juniors in here, again, there are no restrictions right now in terms of Division I. Any level school, they can absolutely start responding to you, proactively reaching out to you. In terms of Division II programs, guys, so for my 2020s, okay, my sophomores in here, after June 15th, following your sophomore year, summer between your sophomore and junior year, then Division II programs can begin, again, proactively reaching out, responding to you, things like that. If I have any ice hockey people in here, that would be January 1st of your sophomore year. Keep that in mind. Now, the great thing is, guys, even for my underclassmen in here, okay, Division III and NAI programs at any time, okay, there are no restrictions on when a D3 or an NAI coach can respond to you. And even if you guys be looking at, a school or division level that might be a little bit higher than that, look at it as practice. Okay? Look at it as an opportunity for you to get comfortable, for you to start sending some emails. Who knows? Maybe you guys can even have a phone call. Maybe you have, some communication with that coach. So even if it's not your number one, I would still encourage you to be. Time of day, guys, when you email coaches does matter. Now, the one thing I will say, guys, with this time, I would definitely check with your, recruiting coach or kind of that sports-specific department to definitely ensure with this. So a lot of times, just kind of from a general overview, 4 to 8 p.m. is kind of the best time. The one thing I will say, guys, at least this is golf. I can't speak to the other sports, but a lot of times golf-wise, it's going to be generally you're going to find a coach in their office in the morning hours. So what I actually encourage sometimes my golfers to do is a lot of times in the afternoon they might be at practice, they might be at things, but kind of that 4 to 8 p.m. period, though, a lot of times coaches are getting done with their day, they're getting home, they're checking their emails. So 4 to 8 p.m. is always good. Is a good item to follow. Sometimes the worst times, guys, are Mondays. A lot of times coaches might have a long weekend. They're getting in. They're trying to get things sorted out for the week, and they just don't have as much time. So definitely try to avoid sending out those emails to that coach on a Monday. Okay. Now, 4 essentials for every email, guys. Okay. So here's a few things for you. Academic and athletic awards and stats. So the way, guys, that I like to kind of break down this email, and we'll talk about the actual template here in a moment. The first paragraph, that's kind of what this is going to. Okay. So that's a little bit about yourself, introducing yourself. But the way they should look about this is the hook. This is the hook to the coach to get them interested in you. Okay. Remember, you should go into it with the mindset as this coach has no idea who you are. They've never talked to you before in their life. So this is our opportunity to make that good first impression. So maybe academic awards that you're proud of, maybe some athletic awards and stats. That's going to vary on your sport. That's going to vary on, kind of what's important to your sport. I can't speak to everybody, but again, golf-wise, this is where I tell my golfers in terms of maybe, some impressive scores that they've shot, maybe some wins that they've had, things like that. For my football guys in here, for some of my other basketball players, other sports, that might be more based on, times. That might be more based on, it could be a variety of things, but always trying to include some type of awards or statistics that is going to catch that coach's attention. Okay? Second paragraph. A lot of times, guys, this is going to be the why factor, or basically reasons why you want to play for that college. The more detailed and the more specific that you can make these emails, the better. Now, the one thing I'll say, guys, is I'm sure that maybe some of us in here, we've thought, well, if we can just send out a draft email or generic email to 30, 40, or 50 schools, isn't that probably a better route? It's really not, because one thing, guys, that I'll say is think about it from your mindset. Okay, if you receive a generic email from somebody or a company or whatever, how often kind of, inclined to respond? Probably not very often, if ever. So it's the same way. You have to think about it the same way when you're emailing a coach. The more detailed you, the more specific that you can make it to that coach, to that school that you're targeting, the better. Okay? Always have that link to your athletic profile. Again, that's why I always encourage you guys to be using your NSA message center, because automatically it's going to have that link to your profile in there as a default, and your contact info. So even if you're sending an email off there, make sure you sign your name. Make sure you provide not only an email, but a phone number in case a coach does want to get in contact. So overall here, guys, stats, awards, you want to play for that school, link profile, your contact info. If you have those 4 key things, we'll be in pretty good shape here so far. Okay, so continuing on, let's get a little bit more specific here, especially using that NCSA Message Center, okay, that white envelope in the upper right-hand corner of your profile. So the biggest thing that I would say, guys, is emailing coaches through your Message Center. It makes it easier to check when and if a coach would open your email. Okay, now the great thing is on there it will notify you whether or not that coach has emailed you, if they, or excuse me, has opened your email if they haven't. So that makes it easier to kind of keep track on things, and especially if maybe a coach has haven't responded. Okay, then we can follow a certain timeline in terms of following up with the coach, making sure that we're staying organized with this. The great thing is too, guys, basically by just typing in the name of the school, boom, it's going to auto-populate. It's going to give you the name of the coaches on staff there. So rather than going on Google and having to search, for that coach or whatever it is, putting it into your Gmail account, it's going to save you a lot of time. So 2 reasons right there. One thing, guys, that I'm going to, definitely say this is probably going to be a little bit more helpful for my bigger sports. So my football guys, basketball, baseball. A lot of times, guys, emailing the recruiting coordinator or the position coach, basically the position that you're involved in. I would always recommend that rather than emailing the head coach. Even for golf, I generally encourage my golfers to email the head and the assistant coach. A lot of times, guys, the one thing you have to remember is the head coach is not going to have a lot to do preliminary recruiting matters, if anything. So the last thing you want to do is to email a coach and put a really good email together and send it to the head coach, and it's falling on mute ears. And they don't even look at it. They don't even respond to it. So always trying to email the correct party, especially that coordinator, that position coach, that assistant coach, trying to the correct, I would say, channels of communication is going to be important for you. Okay. And even, guys, with the subject line, okay, this is something that's very important. One thing I want you guys to remember is statistics have shown that on average coaches can receive upwards of 100 emails a day. That's hot, right? So making sure that subject line is the first thing that they see. Okay, so rather than saying like interested in Notre Dame, I'm a Notre Dame fan, gotta bring that up, or ND football, or whatever it is, golf recruiting or football recruiting, whatever it is. This is how I want you to format it. Okay, I want you to have your name first and last, your year, okay, state that you're from, your position that's applicable to your sport, maybe some key stats, some awards, and the fact that you have a video. Here's why. So that coach, by having that in front of them, they're going to know who you are, know where you're from, they're going to know when you're graduating, they're going to know, the basically what position that you play. If you're a key stats awards player, golf-wise, they're going to know that you're the type of golf that you are. Even if you want to throw in your GPA in there, kind of showcase that's a good student, I would recommend that. And in fact, you have a video. So they have all those key stats right there even before they open that email. Okay? So what this does, guys, it makes you stand out. And that's the whole to this game. Okay, that's the trick to the game when it comes to recruiting. So if you're able to stand out to a coach, you're going to, one, get them to open your email, and hopefully by opening your email, they're going to like what they see beyond you. If they don't like what they see in that email, or excuse me, in that subject line, or they can't know what that is, sometimes they're not even going to open it. They're not even going to look at it. So it's very crucial for guys to be always using this type of a subject line anytime that you're emailing a coach for the first time. Okay? So very, very important. Definitely keep an eye on that. Okay? The email itself. So, for our guys, when I work with marketers, I try to break this down as easy as I can, and I say 3 paragraphs. The email itself does not have to be anything longer, and I really wouldn't want it to be. And part of the reason why is just because of the limited time that these coaches have, and we want to make sure the information is good, but we want to also make sure that they're able to get through it in a timely manner. So that first paragraph, as we talked about before, introduce yourself, right? Who you are, where you're from, a few stats, some awards, some accolades, honors, GPA, test scores, major club team. Again, the hook. You're trying to provide them some information that you feel would be impressive to a coach if they saw it for the first time. Can you mention what you're looking for in a school, in a team? You know, it doesn't have to be anything longer there than I would say a sentence, 2 at the most. So saying, Coach, you know, a bit about myself. Ultimately, I'm really looking for a program that I can, definitely pursue a career in business, and where I'm going to be able to contribute to a team's success over my, the team's continued success over my 4 years of college. First is done. Okay. Second paragraph. This is the why. Okay. So the one thing I'll say, guys, is again, you can save templates in your message center. For the most part, second paragraph is what's going to change the most. Okay, a lot of times you could probably leave that first and third paragraph pretty much the same, maybe tweak it up a little bit, but the second paragraph is going to change the most. So why do you want to go to that school, and why do you want to play for that team? So this is your opportunity, guys, to show coaches that you've done your research on their team, and they really, that your interest is genuine. Because the say, guys, is don't just maybe say something like, Coach, I really want to attend your school because of the location, or just try to make it, I would say, more personalized. So if you can maybe say something rather than just saying I'm interested in your school because of the location, I'm interested in the school because of its location in Florida. Myself being from Michigan originally, this would present me the opportunity to work on my game all year long. Right? Or maybe making mention that, I'm interested in your school because of the great business program that you guys offer. I notice it's one of the best in the state, and I'm really interested in pursuing a finance degree. So the more detailed, and there's no right or wrong answer, guys, but just the more detailed and the more specific that you can make this, the better. And even in terms of their team, maybe showcasing that you want to continue the tradition of great players from every kind of look at their roster, look where their players are from, look at their ability. But the way that you have to look about this, guys, is what can you bring to their team? What can you bring to the party that is going to help them succeed, help them improve? And that's what you have to think is, how can I provide value to this coach and this team? And if I can do that, and if you can articulate that, especially in an email, you're going to be in good shape. So second paragraph is the why. Third paragraph, guys, this is wrapping it up, but we're really starting the dialogue. We are promoting some conversation, so asking some questions. What I generally suggest on this, guys, is, asking questions in terms of, maybe even what their recruit needs might be. So basically, how many players or they bring in for your grad year. Maybe even criteria that the coach might use when determining, an incoming freshman. Even asking if there'd be an opportunity to have a phone call. Again, there's no right or wrong question. What we're trying to do is start some dialogue, kind of get a better idea of the opportunities available, and even invite them. Maybe evaluate your profile, and always close with your contact information as well. Okay? So, guys, if you're able to really follow that, this format of the email, 3 paragraphs, really doing that homework, doing that research, you're going to be in great shape. Okay. So some do's and don'ts. Couple do's, and again, this is kind of going to be kind of what we already talked about, but still it's good information. Include information that makes coaches want to learn more about you, and watch your video, okay? So remember, guys, we don't necessarily have to tell our whole life story with this, but what we have to do is provide that hook, provide enough information that the coach wants to learn more about us. Personalizing each email and being specific about why that team and that school is the right fit for you. Okay, you're not going to have everything figured out, and you don't necessarily have to go into an exorbitant amount of detail. If you don't know every little thing about that school, that's fine. But really trying to provide, I would say, at least one or two, if not more, 1 or 3 grounded reasons of why that school is for you and why, what you can bring to that team. Having a strong subject line, okay? So remember, that's the first thing that they see. So making sure that, we do format it, how we talked about it with those key stats and all that key information. Emailing coaches that maybe you have had previous contact with. The one thing, guys, is if you've emailed, if you know a coach on a team, if you've had conversation with them, maybe they've seen you at a combine, maybe they've seen you at a tournament, maybe they've seen you at a camp. If they know you, start with them, right? Because a lot of times in the world of recruiting in the world, it's not what you know, it's about who you know. So, again, to start with anybody you've had contact with, the recruiting coordinator, the position coach, the director of operations, bottom, and work your way up. Keep it short, sweet, tell us what they need to know, and again, they can figure out the rest by kind of looking at that profile. Couple dots, be honest or vague. So like I said, guys, if you make a claim, back it up. If you say that you're a hard worker, how are you a hard worker? You're the first person at practice, you're the last person to leave. You're a proven leader. How are you a proven leader? You're one of the captains, co-captains on your team, right? Don't make the coach feel like they don't know enough to watch, again, your video or evaluate your information, okay? Copy and paste. This is probably my biggest do not for you guys. I know that it's easy. I know that it's going to save time, but guys, I promise you, you will not see the response rate. You will not get the type of communication you want back from these coaches. Use subject lines like we talked about, like football or work with me or interest athlete. Like I said, name, grad, state, back to video, some key stats, position, GPA, things like that. That's really what I want you to use. Email the head coach. Remember, start with start with the recruit coordinator, position coach, things like that. Telling coaches your entire life story, right? Coaches are busy. And if they see an email that long, a lot of times it's just going to be a little overwhelming to them. They probably won't even read it. So, like 3 paragraphs, right around there. If we can do that, we're going to be in good shape. Okay? Now, guys, as some follow-up procedures. So, for my freshmen, for my freshmen and my sophomores in here, okay? If you guys have emailed a D1 or D2 school, expect that generic response. That response, and some of you might have received that, is probably, hi Johnny, hi Susie, thank you for your interest in my school. Due to NCAA regulations, I cannot proactively engage with you in communication until such and such date. Again, what I would suggest for you guys is, keep them updated, especially if you have recent tournaments. If you have a tournament schedule on a certain part of the year, you can always fill out a recruiting questionnaire. I'd always encourage you guys to do that. But like I said, at this point in time, the communication has to come from us. It's not going to come from the coach. Okay? Upperclassmen, my juniors, my seniors, if you guys have emailed or if you've emailed a D3 or NAI school, okay, my underclassmen, if a coach is interested, they will respond to you with a personal response. The easiest way, guys, to realize if a coach is interested in you is if they're giving you their time. Time is their most valuable asset, okay? So if you're receiving that through an email, through a phone call, through an opportunity to come over on a visit, in some capacity, they are interested in bringing you aboard for their program. Guys, do one for you. Allow approximately, 2 weeks to get a response from a coach. Coaches are super busy, especially, Edwin, I know you have a question about it. I'll get to that in 1 second. Again, giving it 2 weeks, coaches are busy, especially if it's a fall season sport. So trying to follow up, especially after that 2-week period. Okay. What I generally would suggest, guys, is following up in a phone call. The one thing, remember I said in the beginning that these coaches receive upwards of 100 emails a day. A lot of times statistics have shown they receive less than 10 phone calls a week. So a very easy way to kind of stand out from the crowd. And we have a class on that too, if you guys are looking for some extra help with those phone calls. If you do not get a response, really circle back with that short, 2 to 3 sentence follow-up. That doesn't have to be much. Be something like, hey, Coach, this is Chris Noble following up with you in regards to the email that I sent you on the 27th. I wanted to ensure that you received it. I also wanted to, let you know that I am very interested in learning more about you, learning more about your program, and opportunities to become a part of it. Could you please let me know of some times or days that would work well for you in which we could have a short phone call together? Please let me know if I can provide you anything else. In the meantime, sincerely, Chris. Okay. Short, sweet, to the point. Really doesn't have to be anything longer than 2 to 3 sentences. Even underclassmen, as I talked about, maybe wait a season, get a new video, maybe add some tournaments under your belt, try it again. But have a reason to respond back to that coach. Try to have something new that's happened, that we use that. In terms of building relationships, guys, after this class tonight, I would strongly recommend to sign up for our Coach Communication 201 class. That's all relationships, and we have a 301 on phone calls. We have a 401 on visits. So again, it follows a nice timeline overall, guys. So pretty much on time. So I think we're able to get through that, guys, in about 25 minutes. And I think, Edwin Budd, I think you might have our first question here, which is great. And again, guys, I have really, I would say the next 20, 25 minutes set aside for us. So please feel free to use that chat box for these questions. I'll get to them as quickly as I can. I hope this information has been helpful. Again, if you have especially any questions right now, immediately, please feel free to use that chat box, and we'll definitely get through them. Okay? So, guys, thanks for your attention here tonight. I hope this info was helpful. So our question here from Edwin, would it be smart for underclassmen to reach out and say you have a camp coming up? It's a good question. The first thing, Edwin, that I would say, Bud, is in terms of camps and combines, again, golf-wise, every sport's a little bit different. What I would probably suggest for you, Bud, is first of all, before you would do that, check out their athletic site. A lot of times they'll probably have that listed in terms of upcoming events for camps or prospective student athletes, things like that. So I would encourage you to start with that. If you don't see anything on there, then you can definitely follow up with maybe the position coach or recruiting coordinator or whatever it might be. But I would start by definitely looking on the website. If you don't see anything on there, sure, you can follow up. Definitely even with the recruiting coach or head recruiting coach, definitely be sure to follow up with them. I don't want to provide bad info for your sport, but like I said, in all, I would check online, see if there's anything listed on there. If not, try to find a recruiting coordinator to follow up with to ask that question. Kind of helps. All right, other questions we have here tonight. Okay, one more. Free. Just use that chat box. Okay. Question from Jalen. Here we go. How do I get a coach to come to the games and see me play in person? Jalen's a good question. Let them know what basically you're going to be playing. I would say, first of all, is invite them. Usually can be done through an email. That can be done through, a follow-up email, especially after that initial one. One thing is, Jalen, I'm not sure exactly what sport you're with, Bud, but for golf, here's what I suggest for my players. So that's generally when we have the most tournaments, is in summertime. So what I always suggest is to proactively send my players' schedule, coaches that they're interested in. Okay, not always saying that they'll be able to come out and watch you play, but hopefully they will. And especially if you're a player that they're interested in recruiting, if they know where you're going to be playing and kind of the dates and things like that, and if you invite them, they're going to probably do everything in their power to come out and watch you play. So the big thing is letting them know, inviting them, and keeping them updated with tournaments as well. Good question, though. And then SBUD, how many is too many schools / programs? So so I'm understanding your question, but are you talking about how many schools or programs to email? Is that it? Like, is there too many schools that you would be emailing, or? Okay. Good question. I don't think I've ever had that. To be honest with you, bud, if you're following good procedure, if you're following the tips and the advice that I'm providing you, I don't know if I'd ever tell you that you're probably emailing too many schools. What I would say for you, though, bud, is just not to get sloppy, not to cut corners. So, it's probably going to be difficult to reach out to more than just with school and practice and everything going on. Overwhelm you with this. So let's put it to you this way. If you're emailing, let's just say every week, 20 or 30 or 40 schools, that's probably too much. And I would say that probably a lot of your communication might be, kind of generic. Because it would probably be really difficult to email that many schools. So don't think of it that way, though. Think of it as, all right, if you can reach out to 2 or 3 or 5 programs each week with that personalized detail, making these quality emails, keeping track is a big thing that I would say as well. And so, okay, I've sent an email to this coach. I've heard back from this coach. What I would say for you, Esvez, and I'd say for all you guys in here, is to make maybe a spreadsheet, like just a really simple Excel document, and maybe on the left-hand column put the name of the school that you're emailing, maybe make one column at the top, say initial email, make another column that says response, make another column that says followed up after 2 weeks, so on and so forth. So I think that's going to keep you a little bit more organized. So as an all but, if you can average anywhere, I'd say from 2 to 3 to 5 schools a week that you're emailing on a consistent basis, you're going to be in the pocket. Thanks, bud. Absolutely. Glad to help. Okay, and then we have a few other questions here. Give me one here. Mackenzie, awesome. Glad you have a question. As a sophomore who has never emailed a coach or school before, does it make sense to target 25, 30 schools or go broader? I'm glad that you asked that, Mac. What I say is, Mac, when it comes to set that goal, especially with you being a sophomore, I mean, in total, like I said, I'm saying there's a perfect number out there, but the fact that you realistically have 2 solid years ahead of you for emails, if we're setting a target and over that time you can email, I would say, upwards of 100 plus schools. Again, I'm not saying that 100 is a perfect number, but I'm just kind of using that as an example, and I think that's very doable for you. I think that would probably be a better example for somebody like yourself in your position. But it goes back to, like I said, rather than thinking of it from the end number, I would just think of it more from the weekly and the monthly goals. So if you're telling yourself that, all right, I'm going to email in total every month 10 schools, right? Do the math on that, that'll be about 120 schools every year. So I think that's very doable. I mean, generally you're going to have, about, 4 weeks in a month for the most part. So if you're doing, let's say 2 a week, 3 a week, that's going to get you pretty close to that 10 number, 120 schools. So, really, Mac, I'd say in all, probably over your time, if you go up with those numbers, it's probably going to be a lot closer to 240. I hope it's helpful. And we can talk about that more one-on-one too, but I hope it's helpful there. And then we have Spencer. Okay, here we go. He went to University of Delaware on a tour. First choice is academics go, and their athletics are a big part of student life. Good. I worry about being a bit late in the game. Okay. Is it possible to go the club route first and then get to know the coach as a freshman? I'm glad you asked that, Spencer. And again, I don't know exactly what sport that you're involved with, but sure, there's club golf out there. I'm a big believer in club. Awesome, Spencer. Appreciate that, bud. Awesome. Thank you. I'm a believer in club golf, to be honest with you. Even the kind of the especially for golf, kind of the company that runs it, Next Gen, based out of Boston. They're great guys. They've really done a lot of exciting things. I'll use a personal example that I have here is there were who played club golf originally at Michigan State, tried to get recruited by the coach there. Didn't really happen when he was in high school. Long story short, ended up playing club golf there for a year. Played very well, and ended up, and the coach took notice, and he's on the varsity team. He's one of their best players. So absolutely, I mean, if at the end of the day, University of Delaware or one of these other schools is at the top of your list, and you're okay, with not playing on that varsity team and taking that chance, I'm not going to say that is always going to be the case. You might play club golf for a year or 2 years, and maybe continue that route. We're all for, but at the end of the day, I think it's a great opportunity for you to stay competitive. I think it's a great opportunity for you to hopefully get the attention of the coach at a program that you might be interested in. And, hey, you're still being competitive and you're playing some quality courses. I know that was a long-winded answer, but my short answer, Spencer, is definitely yes. Is that helpful? Let me know. Hopefully it is. I would, okay. All right, bud. I would definitely encourage you, to check that route, especially if that's a school that's, really at the top of your list there. Absolutely. And thanks for asking that, but I appreciate that. Okay, and then Edwin, he had another question for me in terms of he has followers on your NCSA sites. In a second, but I think I see Josh. Is it okay to ask about school visits? Yeah, absolutely. And I would encourage you guys to do that anytime that you might be, going to visit a school, even if it's from an academic or just to see the school standpoint. I would always encourage you to contact the coach and see if they have a few minutes to meet with you and your family. You never know. They might be able to take a few minutes out of their day and meet with you on campus. So 100%. Sure, a lot of times it's probably going to be on the family's dollar, in terms of travel and things like that. But, yeah, anytime that you can see a school and go on a visit, I would always encourage to ask a coach if you can meet with them, even if you guys are just going there to visit them or to visit the school in general, even from an academic standpoint. Good question. We have a question here from, I think, Josie. If I were to play at a junior college and I want to continue playing my junior and senior year of college, okay, would emailing coaches this way also work, or is there a different route I need to take? I already asked that. So, Josie, what I would definitely say in terms of the JUCO route, you basically have to look at that the same way that you are right now for high school, because then after those 2 years, you will be going on to a 4-year school. What you're trying to do is touch with these coaches. So what I would encourage you to do is, even if you would go that route, and maybe there's some schools that you're talking to right now that are 4-year school, I encourage you to keep in touch with them over those first 2 years. The biggest thing for you to do is just keep your information updated, keep the pedal down in terms of these emails, the communication, things like that. And the one thing you have to think about, Josie, is whether or not it's a JUCO in your sport or any sport, you are a college player, and you will be then competing against incoming high school freshmen, right, for that technical junior year of your college. So you have to use that college play that you have under your belt as a selling point to these coaches. So trying to keep in touch with them, trying to stay on the radar as much as possible, even throughout those first 2 years of junior college, is absolutely going to be crucial. Good question. Glad you asked that, though. Okay. And I think this is from Edwin's family. We haven't finished the profile page yet. Okay. And then Edwin has a university following him for baseball. Good. Should we email the coach who is following my son? My son is in 8th grade now. Okay. So we'll say on that, guys, is to send an email to the coach. Now, the one thing I want you to keep in mind is division level that the school is at. So if it's a D1 or D2 school, they really can't actively engage in that conversation until summer after sophomore or junior year. If it's a D3 NAI program or JUCO, sure, they can have conversation right now, and I think it'd be great practice. And it doesn't have to be a big email. It can just be that simple intro email saying, hey, Coach, I just want to introduce myself. Saw the other day you put a follow my NCSA profile. I appreciate that. Looking forward to staying in contact with you, keeping you updated throughout this process, and exploring opportunities available at your school. So 100%. And again, what I would prefer for you guys to think about those profile views as follows. I wouldn't necessarily classify them as interest. What I would classify them as is leads to following. So look at them as leads and look at them as opportunities then for you to research the school and reach out to the coach in that initial intro email. Good question, though. I'm glad you guys asked that. So hopefully that helps. Absolutely, guys. So I think we have a few more here. Love these questions, guys. Keep them coming. Question from Alex: how many videos are we allowed to add by ourselves, or how would I send you guys the film to make the video? Okay. On the top of your mind, bud, do you know what membership level that your family is? If you, that's okay. Elite. So with your membership level, Alex, you guys are up to 2 full edited videos. That basically what you guys would be doing is sending in the footage to our team. Okay, we'd edit it, highlight it, get it up on the profile for you. So that's basically on us. But on your end, you put up there as much as you want. Absolutely. So you can you put up in as many YouTube or Huddle videos, whatever that you're putting together, 100%. But in terms of what you could send over to us and we could have edited and highlight for you, that would be 2. So how you would send it? You just talking about it right now, but it's kind of difficult to necessarily show you. So when you 2 ways. I would say your first best bet would be just going into your profile. Under the Edit Profile section, you'll see where there's the Video tab. Okay. When you go to the video page, you will see there's an area on there that says Upload New Video and has a plus symbol. Okay. What you would do then is basically click on that. You can upload clips or highlights, things like that. And then basically once we get the footage over, we'll, in 4 to 8 business days, if not sooner, we'll get that uploaded onto your profile. Actually, a better bet for you, bud, if you do have further questions on that, just because it'd be kind of difficult to talk about it more in depth than that tonight, feel free to call in to our main office number, 877-845-6272. Our recruiting coach team can always help you. You can always get transferred over to the video department. They can help you out too. But I start with that video section, and if you're able to get the video up there, okay? So again, as long as you get that footage in, we'll be able to edit it and highlight it for you. Okay. Question, Matthew. Should I focus more on the schools that have openings for my position? 100%, bud. I'm different sport than golf, so I want to be careful with what I'm saying here. But yeah, anytime if you see, bud, whether it's a roster opening or a position opening for yourself, whatever position you play with, whatever sport you're involved in, 100%. Because what that does is that kind of eliminates some of the question that you might have in your mind in terms of, does this coach have an opening? And that's the whole point of that roster openings and that coach request page, guys, on that Find Colleges feature, is trying to eliminate some of that confusion or saying, well, is there an opportunity here? So, yeah, 100%. Anytime you see that there's an opening for your position or your grad year, whatever it might be, take advantage of that all the way. All the way, man. So, question. And let's see here, guys. Okay, awesome. Edwin and Edward's family, guys, appreciate it. Thank you. It's prep schools. In terms of like high school prep school, is that kind of what you're talking about there, or? Okay. So I think you're talking about like an academy, right? Is that kind of what you're talking about there? Or maybe like yeah, okay, I got you. Oh, everybody's a little bit different when it comes to this. You know, they're good in their own sense. Again, what I would say is, you know, really for yourself or anything. The main thing, you know, Matt, that I would say, sure, you know, these college prep schools or academies, whatever it is, they're expensive. There's a price involved with them, 100%. From a golf standpoint, I'm not a huge believer in them, and that's probably just more with my mindset overall, because at least from a golf standpoint, it doesn't matter really what academy you're at. I mean, at the end of the day, golf is a game that's objective. It's in the score that you shoot. It doesn't really matter where you attend school or what academy you're involved in. If you can play, you can play, right? And that's the nice thing about golf. I'd say that for all sports, but again, I'm going to stick in my road here. But sure, I mean, if there'd be an opportunity that you and your family can maybe swing it where, you know, you could be involved in maybe an opportunity or a school that would kind of give you a better opportunity for a scholarship or school. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're great in their own way, and probably the schooling that you receive. Personally, I don't have a lot of experience with them. I've had a lot of friends who have gone those routes. Some have been successful with them, others not so much. The biggest thing I would say, Matt, for you, though, is do your homework. No matter academy or school that you're looking at, make sure that, you know, what their success rate is, you know, kind of really what they're all about, you know, what they teach their players, and, you know, really what a lot of people get out of it. Because you will notice some of these academies, I'm not going to say all, I'm just going to say some, where they are a bit of a moneymaker. And you want to be careful with that, with anything. So the ones that are quality and the ones that are really focused on kind of giving their athletes or the people that are involved an advantage, 100%, I'd say go for it. But the ones that, you know, might be kind of promising something that may not necessarily be there, again, you want to be cautious with that. So maybe not exactly the answer you're looking for, but hopefully a little bit of advice for you there. Good deal. Guys, any other questions? We have a couple minutes here, and I just want to make sure if we had any last-minute questions, I'm sure I'm able to get to those, okay? This is great. The more questions that you can ask, hey, the more fun that this class can be, too. This has been helpful. I really do. And a point in a lot of your, you know, recruiting journeys. So, you know, I said this, you know, we're here to help our recruiting coach team. So, guys, always, whether or not you have a head recruiting coach, if you do with your family's membership, awesome. Utilize them, use them, you know, pick their minds when it comes to these topics. If not, again, our team, that's why we're here to help. But the biggest kind of takeaways, guys, I would have for you here tonight is, like I said, definitely starting with this target list, kind of making sure that we're focusing on those higher match percentage schools, on those good programs for you, making sure the quality of your emails is good, and follow-up techniques. So when it comes to recruiting, guys, it's about building relationships with these coaches, okay? Email is only the beginning. At that, you know, again, that's why we have that 201 class, we have that 301 class, 401 class. I'd encourage you guys to sign up for those and definitely continue that conversation overall. So, guys, I don't think that we really have any more questions here tonight. And, hey, I appreciate your time. I know I took up about an hour here. And that's really fine. Hey, I think you guys got something out of it, hopefully. So, again, we got quick one. I'll respond to you, and then I think we're going to have to run here. How do I respond back to colleges that contact me, but I'm not interested in the school? Okay, so guys, really quick on this. If you are not interested in the school 100%, you know it's a school for you, all you have to say is basically, Coach, thank you for your interest. Really appreciate it at this time. I'm going to be going in a different direction. In terms of my college years, I do appreciate your interest, wishing you and the team nothing but continued success moving forward. Man, always being upfront with them. If it's a school that maybe you want to kind of keep on the back burner, you don't want to express interest, but at the same time you don't want to burn the bridge, I would suggest saying something to the effect of, Coach, thank you for your interest. Really appreciate it. I will keep you updated. As time goes on, please let me know if there's any information I can provide you with. In the meantime, continued success to you and the team this fall. Hopefully there. front, though. Always being up front. Definitely helpful. So, Matt, I appreciate the questions there, bud. So, again, guys, awesome. If you have, like I say, any questions, hey, our recruiting team is here to help. Wish you guys a great rest of the fall season. And, hey, continued success. And like I said, looking forward to seeing the good things to come here with everybody. So, thanks for your time, guys, and have a great evening.